Niraj Chhabra with Sidebar Advisors. Hope you are doing well. As more and more firms are introducing Roth 401ks as part of their benefits, we're getting a lot of questions as far as what's going to make more sense. Should we put money into the pre-tax or should we put it into the Roth IRA? So I'm just going to play a little bit of devil's advocate for those folks that think that the biggest bang for your buck is going to be putting it into the pre-tax bucket. So why do people think this? First and foremost, people think, okay, well, I'm in the highest earning years of my career. I'm therefore in the highest tax bracket. It makes more sense for me to defer the taxes, minimize my tax obligation today and defer it until in a lower tax bracket in the future. And this might be the case. If you look at current tax laws, maybe it is favorable for you to do such a thing, but we just don't know where tax laws are going to land in the future. Obviously, they're subject to change. Think about how many presidential elections that is between now and the time you retire, and even beyond that, because we're going to be making withdrawals. So keep that in mind. We want to diversify because we just don't know where tax laws are going to land in the future. Second is your tax bracket isn't just based on your salary. It's also based on withdrawals. So if you're pulling money out of a 401k in the future, that's all subject to taxation. And maybe based on your lifestyle, you're going to be in the same tax bracket. So may not be as cut and dry as people think. So the other thing to consider is especially if you're in the younger stages of your career, you might be earning less than you will be in the future. As your career advances and your salary goes up, perhaps you're going to move up tax brackets. So it might make sense to rip the Band-Aid off, put money into the Roth portion of your 401k instead of the pre-tax, and let this money grow tax-free. Now, a couple of things to think about is you're giving up some tax benefit today. So is that going to potentially bump you up into a higher tax bracket? You want to make sure that you're treading that line carefully because it could potentially be an outcome from that. Another reason you may want to consider contributing to the Roth 401k, even if you are in the highest tax bracket and even if you're confident you're going to be in a lower tax bracket in the future, is legacy planning. Oftentimes with attorneys, what we're finding is that they're maxing out their 401k, but the limits are relatively low compared to their earnings. So what do they end up doing? They end up investing their discretionary dollars into non-retirement accounts. And if we think about this from a tax efficiency standpoint, most of the times those are going to be more tax favored than pulling money from an IRA. So we're going to try to withdraw from that account before we tap into our 401ks. What ends up happening at that point? You get to a point where required minimum distributions kicks in and you're going to be forced to take the money out. But a lot of the balance is going to go unused and potentially go to the next generation. And maybe your children are going to be in a lower tax bracket than you are or will be. But it may make sense to potentially let this money grow tax-free if we know that this is going to be for legacy planning purposes. So potentially shifting to the Roth might be advantageous as well. The final thought I just wanted to kind of leave you with is that sometimes you don't need to make this decision depending on your employer benefits. You'll see that some firms are going to offer a pre-tax 401k, some in addition to a Roth 401k. But when you go to change your contributions, check if there's a third bucket called after-tax 401k or after-tax. This might give you the best of both worlds where you're able to maximize the pre-tax benefits today, but still take advantage of this because this is subject to completely separate contribution limits than the 401k. So if you're looking for if you're looking on the contributions page and you happen to see this and you're just not sure how it works, reach out to us. We're more than happy to walk you through this or any of the other points that we talked about earlier today and see what kind of makes sense for you. Hope this was helpful. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks.